Hi, my name is Mark DiStefano. I'm 6'1" and I'm based here in New York, New York. So my acting career has been a lot of fun. When I was in school, when I was in college, I was doing a lot of theater, and I wanted to put myself in a position where once I got out into the real world and gave my accounting career an honest shot, I could be at a spot at 25 to pursue my acting full time for at least a year and have be on my parents' health insurance for a whole year and decide if it was something I wanted to seriously consider because it's really challenging to balance your financial burdens when you are pursuing your acting career and just getting started because you're not making a lot of money. I think that goes without saying. So when I was 25, I quit my full-time accounting job. I had been doing some acting on the side, and that was huge because I had a little bit of background in commercial work at that point, and I had got my eligibility to join the union, which was huge. Because when you're eligible, you're kind of in the sweet spot where you can do non-union work and put yourself in a position to still be going in for all of the network shows, the U5s and the network shows, which is awesome. A U5 is an under 5 line part, which is what you're in a position to do when you begin your career. 1 or 2 lines on Blue Bloods or Law and Order, etc. And New York is an awesome place to facilitate a young acting career because it just tied LA for the production of television. We produce as much television in New York as we do in Los Angeles. At some point, you're going to want to have a good base in Los Angeles, but it's probably not today. And there's obviously some of the best theater in the world is here, especially the off Broadway stuff when you're just getting started. And also, there is this is the indie mecca of the world. This is the indie filmmaking community. It's there. You have access to not only all of these incredibly talented professionals who have been shooting independent films, award-winning films for years and years and years. You have the most iconic skyline in the world, and you have access to some of the most talented filmmaking students. NYU, Tisch, Pratt, etc. And that's huge because when you're starting to build your reel, you can start by doing a bunch of these student films. For me, it was absolutely, especially that first year when I was doing this every single day and I wasn't working a side job or anything. I did, like 12 student films in the first few months. Now there's only one of those still on my reel, but it's one of my absolute favorite clips and it looks amazing. So anyone who tells you that you're too good for student films, especially when you start your career, is wrong. I promise you, because you learn a lot about, these people are studying with some of the brightest minds in film, and they know a lot about filmmaking from a very early age, and you have access to them. You have access to actual parts in movies. They're still very competitive to get into these Tisch films because there's a ton of people doing what you're doing, what I'm doing. So it's absolutely worth being on set with them and seeing how they operate, and especially if you are interested in exploring a career in indie filmmaking. So what I do is I digress. After I came up for that first year, I found a way to do basically seasonal contracting work in the public accounting space. Accounting is a very interesting niche industry because the vast majority of public accounting, the work is done in a tight window from January to April. And the big accounting firms, they want people to come and work those jobs who have a real background in the public accounting. And that is what my background is in. So I get to do that for a quarter of the year and then work like crazy during that time and then spend the rest of the year pursuing my acting and my filmmaking. I collaborate frequently with my twin brother, John. We make a lot of projects. We try to do one big project a year, and we are currently in post-production for our film this year called Second Date. It's a short romantic comedy based here in New York about a young woman waiting for her date on a social dating site. And that's all I'll say about that. But you can facilitate your filmmaking career. It's expensive, but you can do it if you save up and you start meeting the right people. That's what's really cool is you're in this indie filmmaking community, and the more people's projects you do, the more people you'll meet. And as you grow that circle of filmmakers, people will want to work on your projects once you get good. So the more projects you make, the better you get, and the more access you get to better people who will be able to work at affordable rates because you want to pay everyone at the same time, but people are willing to work on your stuff if it is fresh and creative and new, and if you're passionate about it, because everyone wants to be a part of narrative projects. There is a surplus. The vast majority of work for us actors at this level in our careers, early stages, and for filmmakers in their early stages, is in commercial work in industry. And that's what really pays the bills. But everyone is interested in narrative work because it's more fun. And it's a lot, for a lot of us, I think it's what we got in this to do. We're fascinated by movies and television and storytelling, and this is your opportunity to explore that. So if you start to, the more people's things you're in, and they'll be more willing to work with you, and vice versa. For example, our second date movie that we just shot, the assistant director we had met on another set, and pretty much everyone else in the crew was had worked with the director of photography at first. There is a bunch of great social media groups for filmmakers and actors, etc., and casting calls that you need to explore. And because people start to work with each other, and then once you get access to someone who's really good, they can bring on the other good people, which was definitely the case for us. Our director of photography was amazing, and she brought in all these other people to help make our project. And if you're paying people, and if your product is interesting, and there's a couple other variables, people will want to work with you, and that is huge.